get started. So, I have all my questions right here. Okay, first book in your collection and last book you bought. So the first book in my collection is well, not my collection, and I don't think it's the first book, but it's been a long time with me and I have had it for a really long time. It was my mom's and then she gave it to me. So it's Greg Bilton, The Famous Five. This is number 3 and number 4. It's 2 books in one, and look at how old the pages are, so you can totally tell this is a long book. It's been in my family for a long time and the spine is broken, but I don't pretty much care because Famous Five is really famous. Okay, when I was young, and it's just like a detective. It's like little kids trying to find something like that. You obviously have heard Famous Five before. And the last book that I bought is City of Glass by Cassandra Clare. I finished City of Ashes, flew through it so easily. I finished it for 1 week, this thick book, 1 week. And now I'm at City of Glass, really excited. I got the small version one and I'm really mad because they didn't have the big version one. They ran out of it and now I have a small one and I'm really mad because I just hate small ones. Anywho, let's get started. Okay. A cheap book and an expensive book. The cheap book that I have is this Adventure of Tom Sawyer, retold from the Mark Twain original. I got this for free because in our school we have book week and it's like we have this costume. We dress up as characters that we want, and I dressed up as this fairy, blue fairy from, I totally forgot where, but I win and they gave me this book and it's for free. So basically this is very cheap because it's for free and I got it because I won. So yeah. Now an expensive book is this Amy Ignatow, The Popularity Papers. It's expensive because it's hardcover and it's really big. Well, it's not really that big, but it's very awesome. I love these because it's like they have illustrations in it. This was my favorite book. Amy Ignatow was my favorite author when I was young because her books are very interesting. And this is book 2 and I have like book 1. Oh wait, no. Oops. Book 1. Book 3 here and book 1 over here. So she had 2 more books out and I haven't bought it. Maybe because I'm not interested in stuff like this anymore, but when I was young I was really in love with these. And this was $15. I guess it's still cheap, I don't know, man. Really love this book. Next question. A male protagonist book and a female protagonist. Well, mostly, like 90% of my books here are female protagonists. Now, the male protagonist book that I have is 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. I finished the book. I love it. This is a beautiful book and it does change and affect your life. It changed what you think about people. And I am really happy that I got this book. And this is, the main character is Clay Jensen, which is a boy, male protagonist. Get it? Yeah. So this. Now the female protagonist that I have is Matched by Ali Condi. I have a book talk about Matched. If you haven't watched this, spoiler free. The video that I have about this is spoiler free. The video will be down below. And I am in love with this book. I still can't find Crossed, which is really annoying because I really want to read this. I really want to continue this trilogy. And this, how do you call it? The female protagonist is called Kasia Maria Rees, and I am in love with this book. And my friend made me a bookmark that matched with the scroll. Matched. Yeah, I'm very lame at jokes, sorry. Next, a book you read fast and a book that took you long to read. Now, this is very weird because both of these are in one sequel or are in one series, and the book that I read fast is the one that I mentioned just now, is City of Ashes by Cassandra Clare. I read this for 1 week and it has like 459 pages, and I read this in 1 week because it was amazing. I couldn't put this down. And Entertainment Weekly said it right there. Prepared to be hooked, and I was hooked for 1 week. So, yeah. Now the book that took me long to read. Now the book that took me long to read is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. They're in one series. I'm so pissed. Okay. But this took me long to read. It's book 1 in the Moral Instruments series. It took me long to read because I wasn't, for like how many pages, I still haven't got hooked into it. It didn't have that aura that wanted me to take it and pick it up and just finish it. But only after like this much pages, I wasn't really that hooked, but at the rest, I flew through it, I guess. But it did took me long to read, but this is my favorite series, even though I haven't finished it, but I did get hooked in the second one, and probably the third one too, so it gets better. So don't put this down, even though you didn't got hooked into it the first time, but you will. So don't put this down if you're reading it right now. Now, next question. Pretty cover and ugly cover. Pretty cover that I have is Delirium by Lauren Oliver. This is gorgeous. I love author that put like half faces of girls or boys or just faces, and the back one is gorgeous. Even the back cover is gorgeous, and those words, those swirls, and I just love this cover so much. We can tell a book by its cover, and sometimes when I see like a book that has like a face on it or a half face, it is weird and gloomy. Well, not gloomy. How do you say it? It's mysterious books, and this is mysterious, and it's like a little horror, but not like ghost and killing and stuff like that. But yeah, you get what I mean. And by this cover, I can tell that this is a mysterious book, and it is, because it's about like their country. It's a dystopian book, I think. Their country forbids love. They say it's a curse and blah blah blah. I haven't read this. I'm sorry. So sorry, Lauren. Oh. Now the ugly cover that I have is The Year of Rat by Grace Lin. This I bought when I was young, and it was very cheap. It was $5, $5.99, and I didn't even know why I bought this. Like, look at this cover. It's hideous. And even the back one. I just don't like this book. Next. A national and international book. Now, I don't have a national book except my textbooks. So I'm not going to show that because none of the book that I bought is published in my country or is happening in my country. None. The book that I choose is Dork Diaries by Rachel Renee Russell. I'm so sorry, why did I even choose this? I have a ton of books that doesn't happen in my country, like international book, but I thought this is interesting. And, and this obviously doesn't happen in my school, in my country. So there you go, this is international. 90% of my books here are international. They are. Next is a thin and a thick book. The thinnest book that I have, Now the thinnest book that I have is My Totally Secret Diary by D. Shulman. This is reality TV nightmare. I have 3 of these. Well, not the same one. There's like On Stage in America and one more. But this is the thinnest book that I have. And these are really interesting books because they are illustrations, like I tell you. I bought this when I was young. I do still love this, it's really interesting because they have like this illustrations and it's really cool. And this is the thinnest book that I have in my bookshelf. Now the thickest book that I have is Fire with Fire by Jenny Han and Siofan. I am so sorry. Vivian. And this is the thickest book that I have. But I flew through this. To be honest, I flew through this. It was amazing. I cannot wait. Ashes for Ashes. I flew through this so badly, and it's 517 pages, and I flew through it. I don't even remember how long it takes for me to read this, but I remember I flew through it. Now, a fiction and a non-fiction. Now, I don't have a non-fiction book because my whole bookshelf is fictions. Probably a non-fiction book is my textbooks because 100% of my bookshelf is fiction. So I'm just going to choose this. This is Monster High #2 by Lizzie Harrison. This is The Girl Next Door. I read #1. I haven't read this one because I just found something more interesting, I think. But this is about Frankensteins, zombies, Draculas, and that is so fiction. So yeah, here it is. Next one is a very romantic and an action book. Now, a very romantic book, I don't have it right now, or I don't have it ever, but I don't have it in my bookshelf, but it is the Twilight series. Obviously, you all know that that book, or that series, or that movie is very romantic, but for me it's too romantic. It's very cheesy, and if you love Twilight, I'm fine with that, but for me, my own perspective, it's really cheesy, so yeah. Now, an action book that I have is Nancy Drew by, totally don't know who, Carolyn Keene, I think so. Yeah, it's Carolyn Keene. This is #2 in the Nancy Drew series. This is the one with A French Adventure for Nancy. This is #2. I got this in this bookstore that people sell books to them and then they sell it again. That's why it's very beaten up. Very beaten up. Look at the pages, it's very old. But this is the #2, and obviously you all know Nancy Drew is a detective. That's why it's full of action pack. But I think there's a little of romanticness. I don't know. But this is the #2, and I'm really happy that I have #2, even though I don't have #1. But this is a very old series. So I'm really happy that I have just one book from Nancy Drew. Next is a book that a book that made you happy and a book that made you sad. A book that made me happy. A book that made me happy is Mess by Carrie Smith, and this is not a book at all. This is not even a novel. So basically, this book is full of instructions. Like in this page, create a series of thumbprints as the basis for drawing other objects. Also try working with handprints. That's what I did. So yeah, I made a high with handprints. So basically you just do everything that this book tells you to do. And this book made me very happy because I am not a creative person. And I just make mess everywhere. If my mom asked me to like color stuff or cut stuff, I just mess it up. So this book has made me really happy. Now the sad book that I have is, I don't hold it right now. I borrowed it from my school library, and it's Hateless by Jennifer Brown. Let me just tell you how sad this book is. The ending was heartbreaking. The ending was so beautiful and so sad at the same time. That is the end of the opposite book tag. Thank you for watching. I tag all of you that's watching. Comment down below what videos that I should watch. Subscribe to me and like this video up. And we can talk by my social medias down below. I love you all.